That's basically what creativity is. Death, rebirth, right? So that's Aries and Scorpio energy. Aries on a lighter spectrum, giving birth, Scorpio on a dark spectrum, giving death. But both of these things transform us. So, and we're not just talking about zodiac sign, we're talking about this, the esoteric allegories of how they're putting these letters together and the meaning to represent that sun during that period of time. When the sun go into Aries, that's a different light. That's a different, it's in a different position, different, that's not one light traveling. What's making it travel in that cycle order? That don't even make no sense. Light get emitted. God shows light get emitted. So that's a different light in that position that's emitted because it's at a different distance and everything. So the Aries sun is very different than the Pisces sun. The energy in nature as below play out differently, and the as above, our minds play out very differently. And it's different. Every transition, every 30 degrees, every shift on a macro scale and on a second scale, we got that. Pisces sun different than Aquarius sun. Aquarius sun different than Aries sun. Aries sun different than Taurus sun. Taurus sun different than Gemini sun. Gemini sun different than Capricorn. You see what I'm saying? These are, and we are experiencing different natures at this time and different mentalities to do things at these times. And this is the space that the Jews was in when they was creating that tribal concept. Amun Ra is the first house. Canaanite, second house. Sodom and Gomorrah, third house. Gemini. Canaanite, Taurus, Amun Ra, Aries, you know what I'm saying? Or Helios, motherfucking Amun, Amen, and shit like that. Motherfucking Cancer, Noah. Damn, I can't forget the name with the Egypt and things in that nature. Leo, tribe of Judah, motherfucking Virgo, Nefertiti, and his motherfucking shit. Libra, Ma'at, Scorpio, Sakmat, you know what I'm saying? Sagittarius, Happy, or Nappy, or one of them motherfuckers, Happi, or one of them motherfucking shit. Capricorn, motherfucking, oh shit. I keep forgetting. I know all these motherfucking shits though. You know what I'm saying? But y'all get the point. Y'all get the drift in this motherfucking shit. So what I'm doing is basically what the Masons and them was doing back in Egypt. The Pharaohs and them was doing back in Egypt. Or there would be no such thing as you looking in history and coming to cuneiform. Hieroglyphics. What the fuck you think that is, bitch? Y'all lost. But y'all don't want to argue that. And let's say, hey, let's formulate this and transmute this for ourselves now. Y'all want to argue who was slaves first and what spiritual system the shadow government gave y'all and which one let's argue, let's debate, y'all, let's debate. Y'all don't want to come together and just take over the world. Y'all want to come together and debate and get crumbs from people who took over the world and gave y'all the concepts. I just don't understand y'all humans. I don't get it sometimes. I don't even know how to think like that. That's why I don't got no big homies. I don't know how to think like that. I do not know how to think. And my life before the internet, I always became the big homie. So it's like, I don't even know how to think like that. I don't even know how to think how to worship some man's nuts. I don't know. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to give respect like that. So my form of giving respect is just in a man way. It ain't no way that you got some flunked out ass thoughts and shit like that. I don't give a fuck who you is and shit like that. And how many people you got out of jail. And how many people, grandmothers, you sent the bread, a loaf of bread to and shit like that. And how many red, black, and green t-shirts you done sold on somebody's corner. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. That shit ain't got shit to do with God and the type of knowledge I'm interacting with. You know what I'm saying? I'm on it, so I don't listen to no fucking human. Because you could be old all you want or up in age all you want to be somebody's big homie and did shit in the world. To God's children, as a spirit, you a child. You a childish ass spirit. You an immature spirit. You a crack-headed ass spirit. You a kid spirit. First little things you learn, you so excited. So it don't even matter if it come from another man. You willing to call him big homie. You get excited. It's almost like a kid having some candy that for the first time, they think nobody else seen that candy before. Hey, you don't know nothing about this candy. Starburst been here. I said, shout out to Satan the Center. Skittles been here. Y'all said real shit. Y'all said you ain't showing me nothing new. Skittles been here. Snickers been here. That religion been here. Y'all said you ain't showing me nothing new. But then you get these people in these Islams and shit like that. Hebrew Israelite. No, we're the real Jews. How? And they about to pull out a book and a scripture that with a group of words that they somehow think I never seen. Or the person they talking about never seen. Or they think the Pope never seen it. Or the people who actually wrote the book never seen that. So you just found something in some book that you got indoctrinated with a language that you think you seen something nobody else seen before. Okay. Bitch, you got the wrong starting point. You need to understand what space was the people in to know what they're talking about. Or you're going to be lost. Because other than that, it's going to lead into this. You're going to try to argue Jesus walking on water and shit that you don't know what you're talking about. So you're going to have to describe how a man could walk on water years ago and shit like that. Well, all you have to do is understand the space a person was in when they made it. Obviously, man wasn't referring to males, and man was referring to something else. And water wasn't referring to the actual, that type of shit as far as the water we see. So we're pointing to things we see to make representations of allegories of what we experience inside of us. So think about every time you are reading a book or watching a movie, refer to yourself. Think about how are we already doing this? Not this is where we at in the spirit world. These are coming from other men and women mind. I don't care what it is. So this is something we're already doing. So you have to figure out what are the best possibilities how we're already doing this, or a man wouldn't even be able to make it up. So when a man is walking on water, you got to think about what do these mean? So think about every time you see a man in a Bible, and think about in a Bible, what does it do? You're going to see a man doing things that an actual male can't do. So you're going to be like, okay, what is this that's doing this? And they must be calling this man. You're going to start to realize that, oh, my thought do that. My ideas do that. Oh, so that's what they're referring to as man. Then when you get into water and shit, thank you so much for the donation, Isaiah LeBron. You said shout him out. I fuck with anybody who got their own shit going. That's how the world's supposed to be. Period. But look, check this out, right? The world will be like, they'll be sitting there trying to argue that. But when you understand the man means thought, right? You'll be like, oh, okay. That's what's doing all these things. So that's how something can live for 900 years. You'll be able to start to understand, oh, if I created JD Byriders and I died, but my descendants kept that business going for 80 years later, then that's a thought form I created that lived for 80 years. So if I wrote a Bible, that's what they talking about, how a man can live for 80 years or 300 years or something. Oh, so somebody's covenant is living for 300 years. See, you'll be able to understand it. Then when you start to point to the water and shit like that, okay, water ain't talking about that if a man walking on water. So obviously water is dealing with emotions and the feminine energy. So man walking on water means a thought form that could walk on depression. So anytime you create an idea that could get you out of a flunked out ass emotional state, oh, this is what it means. So the Jews, they created a way for us. Since they did it, they like Jay-Z. They used the Sagittarius energy. Since they did it, they explained it, so they already did it, so we wouldn't have to do it. So for the most part, we use their mentality, their worldview, they Jesus, they virtue. And if we act out in those natures, we won't be so emotionally depressed. So when I read that scripture, using their idea help me not be emotionally expressed. So how they use their solar plexus to understand life, I can use that for my solar plexus, right? Jesus, to not go below the horizon. Heavy waters, go above the horizon, my light ideas and things of that nature, my masculine, my angels, my light, my white magic, you know what I'm saying? My imagery that don't lead me into heaviness, darkness, depression, demons, you know what I'm saying? Down with the organs that got made out of those chakras. So as a spirit, when you go in those chakras and float around, even your organs look like the Baphomet and shit like that down there, and water faucets and you know what I'm saying? And the ram, aka Mars going into the 8th house, the dick and the pussy. So you seeing the ram down there and shit, and the bull and the mother, and not the bull, but the goat and the horns and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Real shit. Your pelvic and your dick and your pussy. You know what I'm saying? But the chakra that made it is what the Bible teaching about, the esoteric, when you're in that vibrational virtue and principles when we made those chakras. The Jews are just teaching us the mind states we are in before we made the flesh. You are experiencing death like a god because as a spirit, you made your father, Adam, your mother, Eve, come together and made a mind state. And that mind state is a light, a chakra, and you don't want to see nothing else different. So you made it heavier and it becomes an organ. Now you can experience that mind dying, right? As a spirit, you won't die, but you experience the mind die. And if you don't know how to get out the mind or know that you ain't the mind, you're going to think you are the mind. So you're going to think you are dying. You're going to think you are feeling. You're going to think you are experiencing these things as these things being you. So you end up being scared of these things. But as a spirit, you always transmute and transition through a lot of different these forms. And that's what spirituality is for you to learn these things. To know that each word is just pointing to what we are experiencing, but none of these things are the end all and be all. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. You're using physical brain words to describe your mentality that you created as a spirit to make those things. And your spirit is experiencing your mentality that made those things. So you are experiencing being an individual. And when teamwork makes the dream work, all of us creating that awareness with our mind in it, right? That's the whole world. And then your mind, the bubble out of that and shit like that, awareness and your own mind out of it. And then for the most part, you're using that to experience, and then that bend in on itself and become organs, and then we create actual physical representations to point to what we have created from that space. Now we got words and shit like that. So anyone who arguing with the definition and words and context of God is a fool. So when they hear me, so I'm the highest religious person and the highest atheist in the world because I'm none of those things. So a religious person come to me and be like, do you believe in God, and what is God? I say no, and I say nothing. Then they try to argue God to be something and argue it for God like they know about God. In the same breath, they know they never seen God, they don't know God, and they know God ain't something of this world. So I win that argument. They're just confused because they're lost in man's language and shit. Then atheists will come and say, do you believe in God and what you think God is? And I say, I don't believe in anything, but I believe God. You know what I'm saying? And for the most part, so I'm not inside of anything. It's all possibilities. Then they'd be like, wait a minute, that so how, quantum fields and this, that, and third, and this, that. So I'll be like, what made those things then, right? Your spirit, your space, all possibility, right? And then all they're going to do is be confused and try to argue for something again, and things of that nature. So atheists is retarded, and motherfucker religious people is retarded. Because a atheist would be like, can't something come from nothing? So they don't even believe in themselves. They don't believe in God. They don't even believe in all possibilities. So they're retarded too. They're retarded. You know what I'm saying? So all their context is retarded and shit like that. And for the most part, you know you came out of thin air. Ain't nobody bust no nut and no grass, and you grew up like a tree. You came out of thin air, out of somebody's mind, accumulated as that light bent in on itself and became an organ, a fleshly fluid, how we built adrenaline out of our mind. And then for the most part became a sperm cell or an egg cell and out somebody's ass. You didn't come out the ground though. You came out of thin air. Even if you want to say there is no such thing as a scientist being able to look into a man and a woman and see how many kids they have and shit. There ain't no such thing as that fucking shit. That's retarded. You are an individual experiencing what we all created together, just your own individuality throughout it. So it's teamwork makes the dream work, to express, to be aware of each other individually. So all of these things play out as a team, not one or the other. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's the brain before the mind, or it's the mind before the brain. The religious people think it's the mind before the brain. Atheists think it's the brain before the mind. It's both. It's a transition. The spirit create the mind, and the mind create the brain. So it's a relationship now. You know what I'm saying? So the brain can observe the mind, and the brain can observe the mind, and with the mind, the spirit is using the mind to do things with the brain. So once you get rid of your brain and your mind, this is why in your next lifetime, you don't remember this lifetime, because you get into a different mind and a different brain. The only thing that maintains is the spirit, the ability. So your expansion and contraction, you're going to develop different minds, different brains with a better ability and similar abilities that you already have and things of that nature. So whatever that may look like with a different shape and form, you're going to have that same energy, and you're going to be able to do stupid shit or miraculous shit in that time. And when you get some spiritual knowledge, you'll be able to pinpoint the starting points like me, because I'm able to remember. Like every time I die, I think about every second. So I remember every transition. And I died a lot of times. It's normal for me. Like life, death, birth, life, death, birth, life, death. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to help y'all understand the transition. You always be a spirit experiencing it. For an example, when you was in your father, mother, and you was born in the third dimension, that's 1, 2, and third dimension. You are about to be born in the sixth dimension. So you experiencing what you did to get here in real time. It's slower. The vibration is slower. So you are experiencing it with longer periods of time, because you got more, bigger, heavier forms. That's the same thing, doing it slower. So reaching the egg is just basically becoming intelligent. And when you bring a thought and feeling together, you emit a light, that intelligence. And that intelligence, other spirits follow that. But that's your actual blood cell in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimension. You accumulated a mind as a bacteria. And now down here, that's the new form you're getting ready to go into, the same way how you got into your father in a 1, 2 and came out in the third dimension. A spirit, you became aware for yourself for the first time. And now you got your own mind. Now you found spirits that became aware in this geographical location before you. Right? Because spirit age is different than this age. So for the most part, you probably live many worlds. This is not this one. Right? Or in another type of vehicle here. Right? We're a bug animal, so you develop more wisdom. And more lifetimes here. Now, when you got into that one, right? Your periodic table mixed and mingled with your father and mother periodic table. So now y'all sharing space. And then now those energies can become more condensed as fluid, and now you got a body to be inside of as a spirit, a sperm cell and an egg cell. These are bodies, not sperm being a damn spirit and the egg cell being a damn body. I don't know who fuck taught that damn shit. Fucking scientists. But for the most part, you need to know this is what you are. As a spirit, your mind is a body and your physical body is a body, but your mind is the first one, and it becomes the father because it condenses on itself and become the physical one. And all the second comings become the sons, aka the chakras that do the same thing after the fact. That's why every time you think too hard, you build too much adrenaline, adrenaline and you got too much blood, sweat, and it clog up, and then you feel tired, or you might feel like you can't do something and develop an illness and shit like that, because the spirit create the mind, the first body, and that one becomes the heavier body. Then all the ones you do after that be inside the heavier body. That what makes the heavier body becomes the father, and to get to the father, you have to go through the sun, the chakras, the solar plexus, right? Which is the minds that you was creating after the fact. After this, the first one already became physical. Now the other ones is the other mentalities, keeping it running like adrenaline. Mind come down into flesh. So now as your blood cells, you have to keep going. That's why before a person die, you have to tell them to think about something. Think about your children. Because you're developing a mind state that you care about, that if it's a spirit, you create that mind and jump into it and keep building ideas in it and build adrenaline. And if that adrenaline chakra matched was the one of the organ that it made that got damaged at the moment to make you get ready to die, you will pump enough adrenaline in that area to stay alive long enough, and if hospital around you, they can patch you up, and then you'll still be alive. So it's all about mind work, and the mind bend in and become the organs, and the organs is what we're experiencing as death, the mind playing out in a slower transition. So it's really still the mind. It's just when we condense it and it's so heavy, we're experiencing the mind play out slowly, and we call it the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension, before you die, or you know what I'm saying, shit like that, the transition, getting old, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's still your mind. It's all the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension shit. You know what I'm saying? So as a spirit, that's how we get here. Now we doing this in real time, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension right now, being in this version. So you're going floating around in a father and a mother with your mind. And whatever. Ooh, sorry, I got weed thumb, y'all, and finger. Wash my hands. I can't wipe my face with this one either. But you're there, right? So it's gonna take for them to kill you, or to be in that space, and then you would die here. However, this event happened, and your spirit will go in those familiarity thoughts, and now you'll go inside their body and be born out, and that'll be the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. So you experiencing being inside of something in real time now, though. So what you don't remember being in your father and your mother, you're doing the same thing now. So you're learning we're the 5th spiritual race. 4th dimension, getting your own individual thought. 5th dimension, getting your own emotions together. So you're supposed to already have your own individuality thought. 4th dimension, 1 on a broader scale, and 2 on a broader scale, feminine, is 5. Learning how to control your emotions with your masculine. 4th dimension. When you bring those as a complete character, you become your own vibe. Now it's condensed. It's not scattered all over the place. You now have that blood cell as a spirit to be the egg other spirits is following. And then now you're getting ready to be born in the 6th dimension with a body, with your divine masculine and feminine there. 4th and 5th dimensional energy there. Thought and feeling there. You know what I'm saying? With your 6th dimensional whole body. That's just a bigger version of the 1, 2, and 3rd dimension. 1 dimensional individuality, 2 dimensional duality going in your parents, 3rd dimensional. You got a body right now with a thought and a feeling. You know what I'm saying? And as a spirit, you're supposed to control that. You got a body with a man and a woman. You got a body that's a marriage. You know what I'm saying? Mother, father, child. You know what I'm saying? Good cop, bad cop, person who needs to go to jail, the body, the cave, the demon, the Abaddon, the thing that need to be sealed for 1,000 years. So we create calendars and shit like that. So we don't get outside ourselves, because our body lead us to do crazy shit, to fuck, to eat, to obtain the things that the shadow government created to obtain us, because y'all low-hanging fruit. So it's basically that concept. You know what I'm saying? And that's the deepest esoteric game y'all ever gonna get in y'all life.